Welcome to the Wildcat Week Halftime Show. I'm your host, Aaron Martindale. Let's get away from the IWU Cornerstone game in Lucky Arena and take a look at what's been going on with IWU athletics. We start things off with volleyball. The women's volleyball team competed in the Crossroads League Championship last Saturday in Lucky Arena. The 8th-ranked Lady Wildcats took on the Bethel Lady Pilots in the final round of the championship. Bethel comes in at 23-12, while IWU has a 35-2 record. Here we start in the first set. Up 13-9, IWU sending the message as Yui Iwase sets up Elijah Mulitaupele, and she's too much to handle. And then later on, it's 19-12. Yui Iwase sets up this slam by Christine Egebrecht. Egebrecht doing what she's done so many times before. She has over 1,000 kills in her career. In the second set, it's a close match with the Cats leading 14-12. Here's senior Rachel Quackenbush with a cross shot, and it lands inbounds for a Wildcat score. IWU wins the first two sets, but the third set, Bethel makes a run. Here Bethel is up 6-1, and their middle hitter Aubrey Husak giving the Wildcats trouble. She was an All-Crossroads League first-team player, and you can see why. Bethel would lead the majority of this set. Here they score again as Yui Iwase tries to defend but doesn't have quite enough. IWU claws their way back though, and they end up taking the lead. Later in the third set, IWU scores on this Ray Brandes deflection. And watch how it all ends with a little trickery. Yui Iwase sets it up. Is it Christine? Oh, nope, it's Rachel Quackenbush with the drop. IWU wins the Crossroads League Championship. Coach Candace Moats and her girls winning the league and advancing to the NAIA National Tournament for the second year in a row. This is the 11th year that Coach Moats has been coaching at IWU, and it's the 9th time in those years that one of her teams has won the league tournament championship. She is now 335 and 135 at the school with an all-time conference record of 91 and 23. The Lady Wildcats advanced to the NAIA National Tournament. They are ranked among the top 12 seeds in the tournament and have received a bye for the first round. With the bye, they automatically advance to the final site in Sioux City, Iowa. The men's soccer team took on Spring Arbor University Saturday night at home in the finals of the Crossroads League Tournament. Remember, the Wildcats played Spring Arbor in October and lost 2-0 then. But the winner of this game will advance to the NAIA National Tournament, and we start off the action about 13 minutes into the game. See right here, the game is scoreless up to this point, but Spring Arbor's Joel Musambi catches Wildcat goalie Jeff Gepper by surprise. Spring Arbor goes up 1-0. There are no more scores until the 55th minute. You can't see him, but Jeff Bowman is going to send in the ball to senior Seth Dausma. And initially, it looks like Spring Arbor gets the save, but a few minutes later, it's confirmed that it was an IWU score. The home fans like that call there, but it's not over. It's now tied up 1-1. The game goes into overtime and even into double overtime. In double OT, Spring Arbor's Joel Musambi is moving quickly down the field, as you'll see here right now. But he gets tripped up by Josh Schultz here right there, and sets up a penalty kick by the Cougars. That play would seal the fate of the Wildcats. Here Josh Gepper misses the save, and Spring Arbor defeats IWU in double overtime 2-1. The loss is a stinging one. Spring Arbor ends up winning the Crossroads League. IWU comes up short. IWU drops to 13-3-4, while Spring Arbor goes to 16-3-2. The Wildcats will get to play at Christian Nationals this week, though. They'll be taking on conference opponent Grace at their place in the Midwest Regional semifinals. On to cross country. The men's and women's cross country teams competed last Saturday at the Christian Nationals at Cedarville University. The men's team finished with a score of 301 points and came in 8th overall out of 39 teams. The top runners for the Wildcats were seniors Ethan Loudermilk, who came in 41st place, and Andrew Albert, who came in 46th, and there were 263 runners total. Following them were seniors Mason Webb in 74th place, freshman Tyler Loback in 79th, and freshman Sam Spivey in 83rd place. The Lady Wildcats also ran Saturday. The women's team scored 263 points and came in 7th out of 35 teams. Junior Christina Sandberg led all IWU lady runners, coming in 40th out of 255 runners. Junior Kayla Ewart was next in 48th place. Senior Emily Dean was 49th, and senior Natasha Greenwood finished in 63rd position. And freshman Angel Gasser rounds out the scoring for the Lady Wildcats with 67th place. The men's cross-country team and one of the women's runners are racing at Nationals next Saturday. Junior Alyssa Foss will be running alone in the women's race that starts at 1:30, and the men's team will be racing at 2:45. Well, it's time for a break here, but stick around. When we come back, we'll tell you about the men's and women's basketball teams here at IWU, and you'll get an inside look at the comeback story of one of the Wildcats' key men's basketball players. Stay tuned.
Join WIWU for an hour of inspirational television from College Wesleyan Church.
When Jesus intercedes, he is creating a new relationship between himself and us and the world.
It's an hour of television that matters from WIWU TV.
Welcome back to the Wildcat Week Halftime Show. Thanks for sticking around. Well, basketball season has certainly arrived here on campus, and the men's basketball team was in action last week in the WHAC Crossroads Challenge up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. The men took on the Aquinas Saints on Friday. The Wildcats sitting at 3-0, while Aquinas is 1-1 going into the contest. We'll jump into game action partway through the first half. Taylor Schoen delivers the ball to Darian Michael, who knocks down the tray. A few minutes later, Patrick Hopkins giving an assist to freshman Kylan Doubles, who knocks down a three of his own. Cornerstone scoring points also, though. Here we see Brett Failer with an early almost three. It only counts for two, though. And as the first half winds down, Jordan Widener brings it down the court and beats the clock. That's a clutch play right there. The Wildcats are up by 6 going into the locker room. Now in the second half is Zach Van Beek going in and out, kicking it out to Kenny Gordon for a trifecta. Later on, though, the Wildcats mimic this play on the other end as Jordan Widener assists to DJ Bettinger, who drains a long three. Jordan would have several threes of his own, though. Here he gets an assist by Taylor Schoen and drains the three. And then later on in the first half, he knocks the three down again. He ends up the high point scorer on the night with 21 points, including 5 three-pointers. IWU went on to win the game 63-50, and with the win, they advanced to the championship round of the tournament. In the championship game, IWU took on the host Cornerstone University and came up short, losing a close game 69-65. The loss was their first of the season, and it puts them at 4-1 overall. The IWU women's basketball team also played in a tournament last weekend. The Lady Wildcats competed in the Viterbo Classic, taking on Northwestern University, the defending national champions out of Iowa. And they were ranked number 2 in the nation also. The Red Raiders get the opening tip-off, and let's begin. Early in the first half, Emma Stahl takes the ball down the court all the way to the hoop for a lay-in. Later on, Allie Dunkelberger for the Red Raiders, moving in the paint, knocks down the close shot. Claire Ray would be knocking down shots for IWU tonight. Here she is with a nice spin move, laying it in. At the end of the first half, IWU defends a Northwestern shot attempt and goes into the locker room, leading 35-22. In the second half, the Wildcats doing more work. There's Claire Ray again with the layup. And if Claire would have 22 points on the night, rounding it out, it's Emma Stahl once again with a nice spin move in the paint. IWU goes on to an impressive victory over Northwestern, winning by a final score of 75-59. The Lady Wildcats played the next day in the championship game of the tournament, this time playing Dakota State. Here in the first half, senior Paige Smith with the layup down low. Later on, it's Emma Stahl getting an assist and knocking in 2 points for the Wildcats. Also, Val Sohaski playing well in the first half. Here are just 2 of her 10 first half points. IWU gets up a shot shortly before the buzzer, as you see there, and they head to the locker room. Good way to perform in the clutch right there. Shortly into the second half, Paige Smith, with good presence in the paint, she would be the high point scorer for the Cats with 16 points. But Dakota State, scoring points of their own, here freshman Courtney Holstein knocks down a 3. And later on, Katie Pillar for Dakota State doing some maneuvering and knocks the ball in and scores 2 points. But the Wildcats were able to hold on and eventually won the game by a score of 68-63. Coach Brooks' players are the champions of the Viterbo tournament with a win over number 2 Northwestern in the semifinals and a win over Dakota State the next day in the finals of the tournament. IWU advances to 3-0 on the season. Well, the Lady Wildcats basketball team is in action this evening, but so is the men's basketball team. The men's team is taking on the Trailblazers of Ohio Christian in Central Ohio. The last time these two teams met was November 14th, and last year IWU got the upper hand in that game. Well, that's about it for this edition of Wildcat Week Halftime. We'll send it back to the game against Cornerstone University. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.